Welcome back to the last Crow sequel, The Crow Wicked Prayer, aka The Crow vs. Satan. And I'm going to cut right to the chase. Wicked Prayer isn't just a horrible Crow sequel, it's a horrible movie, period. Everything is done wrong, so much so that I'm sure it was intentional. The protagonist is cast wrong, the antagonist is cast wrong, and plot elements that have no business being in a Crow movie. But I don't need to tell you, I can just as well show you. This is The Crow Wicked Prayer, and trust me, you are not prepared for this. We start with some text telling us about a Native American reservation closing down a mine, but the mine isn't mentioned again and has zero involvement with the plot, so we're off to a great start. We then get swiftly introduced to our bad guys, one at a time, and this time, I don't need to give them stupid nicknames. They already have stupid enough names, and they just scream, "I'm really tough, honest." The first three are given in quick succession. We have Pestilence. Ha! It's funny because he's dying. Next we get Famine. It's funny because he's a cook. And also War. He's War because he shoots things. That's pretty much all he does. Now I know what you're thinking. Where's Death in this quartet of chaos? Well, they saved the best for last. A sniper watches a chain gang from a nearby bell tower as one of the inmates appears to get seizures. Oh hey, it's David Boreanaz. You know, from TV's Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. That's why they intentionally hid his face, right? So we could get a dramatic reveal of David Boreanaz. It's David Boreanaz, everyone. And our sniper is Tara Reid. Tara's considered by many to only be in bad films, but I don't believe that. I mean, what film was she in before this? Oh, right. Now, for the other three guys, we've been told the reason they're here. Revenge. But what's Death's mission? Ugh, that's so fucking stupid. So yeah, they're Satanists, but they act more like your average group of teenagers who think it's cool to say they worship Satan. At least they're not just appropriating things with the word devil in it.
Eat up! Partake in the deviled ham, eat of the deviled eggs, and for dessert, feast on devil's food cake.
Anyway, our four horsemen are threatening a local preacher when Tara intervenes.
How's it going, Lo?
Better now that I'm with you.
Will you marry me, Lola Byrne?
Till death do us part, Luke Crash.
Lola Byrne? Luke crashed? Oh! Crash and burn! Ah, that's fucking painful. Moving on, we're finally introduced to our crow, Jimmy Quavo, played by Edward Furlong. Ugh. Our hero, everybody.
Tonight, as we celebrate the birth of the crow and the coming of our Raven Aztec Casino.
We hear on the radio of a ceremony for the upcoming casino. Hold on a second. Raven Casino? Raven Aztec Reservation? Now, movie, you do know that crows and ravens aren't the same thing, right? They're not even the same fucking species. We're only 10 minutes in, people. Anyway, turns out Jimmy is dating the tribe leader's daughter. They sneak away and Jimmy expresses his desire to run away with her.
I'm gonna hit the coast before anybody notices.
I want them to notice. I do.
But of course, the tribe leader doesn't like that.
Billy!
Have you lost your mind, sis?
It's a great day to be alive, ain't it?
Oh, how ironic. And holy shit, machetes in this movie? Alright, things are looking up. Wait a second. Isn't Danny Trejo of Mexican descent? Playing a Native American. Awkward. And pretty racist considering they're very different cultures. Swiftly moving on, Jimmy's off to propose to Lily, but her obsessed cop brother stops him for a chat. And Furlong tries his best to act tough here, lighting a cigarette, only to immediately throw it away, but he's not fooling anyone. The cop finds Jimmy's ring and possibly overreacts. Yeah, I don't care if it was loaded or not. He would be so fired for that. So yeah, after that bit of police brutality, Jimmy is let go to visit Lily at her shop, but the Satanists are already there waiting for him. If only there was some kind of law enforcement around. Oh wait.
Nobody keeps the Grim Reaper waiting.
Luke!
And yeah, Luke and Jimmy know each other from their time in prison. But not in that way. The Satanists plan to kill Jimmy and Lily so Luke can become the devil or something. But they're not just going to kill them. After all, they're Satanists. So they cut out Lily's eyes so Lola can become a seer like her.
Time's a wasted, low.
The others are shocked by that? You think being named after the Horseman of the Apocalypse would mean not much phases them? Lola reads a spell to get her psychic powers, and I think eats Lily's eye. Gross. And unbelievably, they're not full of shit, as it actually works.
Now I have the eyes of a shaman to unlock the spell.
Then Luke goes to kill Jimmy.
You are gonna fucking die.
That would have to be the least intimidating threat I've ever heard. And then he cuts out Jimmy's heart. Sadly, we don't get to see David Boreanaz chowing down on some human heart, as another spell is read and it turns to ash in his hand. And then he gets the horribly cliched symbol of the devil on his chest, which I assume means it worked. They get rid of Jimmy and Lily's bodies and then have a party in what can only be described as a goth teenager's bedroom and partake in the food of the devil. Yes, sir, no angel delight here.
Feast on devil's food cake. Au flambeau.
And now, 30 minutes into an hour-and-a-half film, the Crow finally shows up. He takes Lily back to her shop and we see some traditional flashbacks, and I need to talk about this. In the other films, we see the Crow either once they've died or about to die, and we don't see them with their loved one. So the flashbacks were a necessity to show who they were in life and who they've lost. And it's like we're discovering the memories with them. But when you've had 30 minutes worth of setup for these characters, it all seems like pointless padding, especially when you flash back to things we've already seen. And it kind of highlights the bad writing when you have a third of your movie to show who these characters are, and you still need flashbacks to get your point across. And you know that scene I mentioned in my last review? The scene that all Crow movies have to show the Crow is invincible? This is it done in Wicked Prayer. Oh boy, they're ramping up the emo quotient for this one. Jimmy makes his way home to suit up into the Crow. I still can't believe he uses a Sharpie. Suited up, Jimmy's now ready for revenge. And I thought Ash from City of Angels looked bad. Oh boy. Before I continue, one flashback here in particular I find interesting.
You're not a killer.
Yes, he is. Let me explain what I mean. Later in the film, we find out that Jimmy stopped a would-be rapist and then beats him to death. Now in my book, that makes him a killer. Maybe not murder, but definitely manslaughter. So...
You're not a
just sounds deluded and vastly underplays the vicious crime he is guilty of. See? He knows. Oh, he meant Lily. Never mind. I guess evidence doesn't mean much to this guy.
Call the tribal council. We have to have a meeting.
Elsewhere, our Satanists hit their local chapel looking for that virgin sacrifice.
Bet you that virgin bride tastes just like cherry pie.
Good call, Hawkeye.
For Luke, the virgin sacrifice is secondary to his plans as he has some unfinished business with the priest.
Who are you?
I'll tell you for $47.66. Don't you see the resemblance to the preacher you shot down for the contents of his collection box?
It's surprising that the only one of the bad guys that didn't have revenge in their opening bio actually gets a revenge subplot. And Luke has War shoot the witnesses, mainly because, again, War shoots things. That's pretty much all he does. Wait a second. A group of killers crash a wedding in a small chapel where the bride is pregnant and they end up killing everyone. Nope, doesn't ring a bell. We then cut to Pestilence doing something completely fucking irrelevant, and then Jimmy shows up.
Who's fucking Luke? He owes me 2 lifetimes and a set of perfect blue eyes.
Throwing straws and talking through his teeth like a child isn't really the kind of badass character we're looking for. It all just seems pretty pathetic. Nothing he says seems intimidating or badass. Need I say more? We get a rather anemic fight scene that's nothing special, and it's over quick anyway.
A butterfly who dropped you was a man.
Jimmy tells Pestilence to send the others a message, but he just kills the guy anyway, so I guess he can tell them himself. Meanwhile, Lily's father has gathered the tribe and implements vigilante justice to try and catch Jimmy.
The state troopers set up roadblocks.
No outsiders. We've seen their kind of justice. They're the ones that set him free the first time. And we have our kind of justice.
They're pretty anxious about catching him on circumstantial evidence. I would have thought they'd be more concerned about the escaped convict going around massacring weddings. Ah well, the escaped criminal they are not concerned about has made his way to the local community's annual party, and he ain't interested in having fun. These are really shitty bad guys. While they're getting ready to slaughter more people, Jimmy shows up at the massacre at Two Pines, generic chapel, and it's revealed that the person Jimmy killed was the priest's son. And then he exhibits some unexpected new ability. That's it. We've jumped the shark, people. He can heal the dying. He's Jesus now. Oh no, not again. Seriously? Nothing? So back at the party... God, I'm glad this is the last film. So back at the party, Luke and the gang get ready to start killing, but not before Jimmy turns up for another pointless flashback sequence. Did anyone else see that? A Back to the Future reference? Why? What the hell's the point of that? You know that saying, never reference a good movie in your shitty one? How about never reference a movie that's got nothing to do with anything in your shitty movie? Can we just get to the slaughtering already? So Famine hits things while War shoots things, and then Jimmy steps in to take on Famine.
Didn't we kill that guy?
I don't believe it. Truth is, belief's not required.
Hold it right there. Some people may or may not know, Famine here is played by mixed martial artist and former UFC champion Tito Ortiz. They must have hired him for his fighting skill, so he can give some awesome and authentic fight scenes. Let's watch. Awesome. Jimmy then does his non-threatening staring thing at Luke and Lola and tries to attack her, but is stopped by Luke. And then Luke takes down the Crow. Just like that, which shows just how little they're trying. Jimmy is shot by War, who then proceeds to kill everyone else. Jimmy stops him from killing a boy, and then Luke tells them all to leave.
It's too quiet in here. Let's go.
Oh great, you're here. I suppose you're going to blame this on Jimmy as well. Jimmy carefully explains the situation and his mission. No, of course not. He just goes massively emo instead.
Man, I want to die. I want to die. Do it. Do it, please. Please. Go ahead.
But after this little outburst, Jimmy gives the cops some plot-convenient flashbacks to convince him of his innocence. But as he doesn't even try to get the cops' help, I'm not too sure what the point of it was. But anyway, looks like it's time for a wedding, and Luke and Lola go to talk to their priest. But turns out this church is a brothel run by the Satanist pimp priest, yes, I'm serious, El Nino, played by Dennis What the Fuck Am I Doing Here Hopper.
It's El Nino. Get it right, Cracker Jack.
Oh dear. It's going to be a non-acting day for Mr. Hopper, isn't it? Also, why is he called El Nino exactly? Doesn't it mean little boy, or more specifically the Christ child? I wouldn't have thought that's the best name for a Satanist priest. Outside, the tribe have assembled and are waiting for Jimmy, because he's way more important than the murderers who massacred a wedding and a whole party full of people. While they wait, the wedding begins.
Oh, Satan. What's up, Holmes? This is Mac Daddy. El Nino calling you up, man. Quit your basking in the darkness and come on up here.
Yeah, not really what you expect when you think satanic wedding, is it? Outside, Jimmy shows up to fight War. Not sure what he was doing all this time, because the cop made it there pretty quick, and Jimmy left before him. They start to fight as bullets fly into the church, but they continue with the ceremony.
We're kicking our homie down. Our hardcore banger Luke G here.
Jimmy beats up War as the tribesmen open fire, but the ceremony is nearly completed.
Hurry up! Make me the fucking Antichrist!
The tribesmen continue to shoot, but the leader wants them to shoot Jimmy.
Shoot him! Shoot him! No, don't!
Yeah, it's not great to have your hero taking cover with the guy he was just fighting.
You need to keep better track of your ammo.
And he's giving him advice. That's just great. The ceremony is complete and Luke and Lola kiss.
I now pronounce you devil and his shorty.
I love you, Lucifer.
Well, kiss the bride, motherfucker. Kiss the bride.
Well, I didn't expect that. Outside, the gunfight still goes on, and the tribe leader is determined to kill Jimmy.
Shoot him, Valley! No! Shoot him! Don't! Shoot him! He's the crow! I seen his magic.
You didn't tell him yet? I would have thought that's one of the first things to mention. Oh, by the way, Jimmy is the embodiment of one of our religious figures. The cop gets them to stop shooting so Jimmy can get away, and War lights the dynamite he's attached to himself, but is tackled to the ground by Jimmy. And just then, Luke awakens, kissing Lola and blowing out the windows. Is this even a Crow movie anymore? You've got Jimmy Jesus in one corner, and David the Devil in the other. I think someone started reading another script by mistake. Now, I'm as much of a fan of David Boreanaz as the next guy, but I have to admit he does have a tendency to ham it up sometimes. But I think we're safe.
Luke?
Call me Lucifer.
Jimmy finally makes an entrance, but if he was inept before, he reaches a whole new level of sucking, as Luke trashes him while acting like this.
Do you really want to fucking dance?
Luke strings him up in the church, and El Nino comes back to embarrass himself some more.
Is it really you? Original gangster? Well, wicked-ass props to you, Mr. OG. And thanks for representing all the homeboys.
Can you please kill him and put him out of his misery?
No, I mean, you promised me. No.
Thank you. Luke then leaves with Lola as they need to have sex on holy ground to seal the spell. Oh, and make a note of this scene.
See this knife? This is the one I used to carve out your daughter's eyes.
It'll be important later. The tribe find Jimmy and cut him down. Jimmy hands over the crow to the tribe leader as he's bleeding to death and needs their help. Then Jimmy drives off to face Luke. Let's check on the party hearse.
Don't fret, Fräulein. The apocalypse is gonna be one hell of a honeymoon.
Actually, let's not. To heal the crow, the tribe do the crow dance, potentially offending even more of the Native American community. Luke and Lola have found holy ground, and they get ready to get down to business.
It's your wedding night, little girl, and Poppy's a horny little devil.
Will you stop doing that? Jimmy, not so much the spirit of vengeance anymore, more like the spirit of cock-blocking, catches Luke literally with his pants down. Luke and Jimmy start to fight, with Luke literally flying at him, and then he starts to monologue.
So God gave trash, like you, wings!
Did his fingers just make a twinkling sound? Anyway, Jimmy continues to get the crap beaten out of him when the tribe dance revives the crow, bringing Jimmy back to full strength.
Quote the Raven nevermore, motherfucker!
That wasn't badass. That was like a taunting child, regardless of the fact the quote doesn't make much sense. So they fight for a bit, and Jimmy gets the upper hand, obviously. Meanwhile, as the sun rises, Lola loses her special seeing powers and starts to pray.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
And remember that scene I said to keep in mind?
See this knife? This is the one I used to carve out your daughter's eyes.
Kinda makes this sudden redemption look really unconvincing, don't you think? The movie's already gone on way too long, let's get this over with. As the police show up, Jimmy slits Luke's throat and Lola is taken into custody. And Jimmy goes to Lily's grave and their spirits fade away together as we fade to the credits. So that was The Crow, Wicked Prayer. And do I have to say it was a piece of shit? But frankly, it would be 10 times better if they changed one thing. Make David Boreanaz the Crow. He's experienced in a role where heavy martial arts is required, and he's practically made his career on being brooding as fuck. I seriously don't know who, after seeing him in Buffy and Angel, thought he wouldn't be good as the Crow. And hell, if Edward Furlong was Death, it would have made it much more interesting, and I would honestly like to see his take on that role. But having said that, there's still very little to save this movie. There's really no redeeming features to it, and the fact that it was given a paltry 1-week run in a single theatre shows that it was created simply because they wanted to keep the license, and the movie reflects the little effort it was given. So we're finally finished with the Crow series, and who knows where we're going next? Ginger Snap?